Hey guys, welcome once again to Giga Bytes Podcast. My name is Ivan Colon El Giga, and I'm the host of Giga Bytes Podcast. You can follow me on social media, El Giga 947 or El Giga. If you're looking, if you look me up on Facebook, please subscribe to the podcast. We're going to be talking about everything going on in the gaming industry, TV, movies, and a lot of other cool news coming out. So if you want me to cover a specific topic, you can hit me up through social media, and I will answer the questions as best as I can. So let's start with some of the biggest news this week. First of all, the Bafta Awards for 2021, specifically the Bafta Game Awards, put out their nominations for 2021, and most of the games already came out in 2020. They're usually the last award ceremony for gaming, and one of the most respected ones industry wide. And they have some interesting things that came out from the BAFTA Awards nominations. First of all, if you haven't ever heard of them, they are one of the most prestigious awards around in the UK, and they for a long time they were really the best gaming the best gaming award show, at least the most prestigious one, before the Game Awards came about with Jeff Keighley. So there are a lot of cool things that happened with the nominations. First of all, here are the titles that were nominated for Game of the Year. We have Animal Crossing New Horizons, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, The Last of Us Part 2, and Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. So these are the games that were nominated for the best game of the year for 2020. And it's I gotta say, it's a great list. I mean, none of these games should be off this list. This is an awesome list. I played all of them. The only one I really didn't play a lot was Animal Crossing. I'm not a huge fan of the series, but I really get why people love the series. I mean, it's always been really good, and there's a lot to like about these games. So one of the big things that came out of the nominations is that the Last of Us Part 2 became one of it became actually the most nominated game of all time at the BAFTA Awards since 2004, since I started doing the gaming event. 13 nominations, and that came two nominations more than last year, where we had Death Stranding and Control, which had 11 nominations each. Sony had a great event, basically 41 nominations overall, including the 13 for The Last of Us. They have 10 for Ghost of Tsushima. They have 7 nominations for Miles Morales. Dreams got 7 nominations from Media Molecule, and Sumo Digital's Sackboy and Big Adventure got 4. So those are some of the most nominated games at the BAFTA Awards. Obviously, we've seen nominations from basically every award show that have been raving over The Last of Us Part 2, which was my game of the year last year. And frankly, it's one of the best games I've ever played. So I know it's been kind of controversial, some of the subject matter of the game, and some people got mad when there were some leaks before the game came out. I actually got to review the game before it came out, so I finished the game. Then I looked at all the different leaks that were hanging about, and I gotta say, I don't really see why people get so mad about this game. It's an amazing achievement in gaming, in storytelling. I think it's one of the best experiences I've ever had, and it's simply amazing. So everybody has their own taste. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind, but it is one of the most. It's actually the most awarded game we've ever seen. So at least in my eyes, it's well deserved. I mean, Sony did a great job. Naughty Dog's still one of the best studios in the industry, and they proved it with The Last of Us Part 2. So the BAFTA Awards will be held March 25th and it's gonna be online only, obviously. So we're gonna see most of these titles and a lot of the other games that were announced or nominated, like Half-Life or Hades, compete for a bunch of awards. So that's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be. I really like that the Bafta awards are held off until the beginning of the year, basically the first quarter of the year. You get to see some of the titles that are going to be nominated for the BAFTA Awards. So that's going to be fun. Other things that jump into the next subject. I got to see Raya and the Last Dragon last week, and this is one of the new movies coming out for Disney Plus. It's coming out March 5th. In Puerto Rico, at least, it's coming out for theaters March 4th, the day before. So we're going to get an extra day at the movies. And it's going to be available day one on Disney Plus. So what I got to say about this movie, I actually did a video review, and we're going to review it this Saturday on Telemundo on Jocelyn Gamer. And I really love this movie. I mean, it's really fun. I love the cast. It looks amazing. It's fun. It's got a great message, like most Disney movies, but I really dig the whole dragon mythology aesthetic of the movie, and I gotta say the two protagonists, Keller Marie Tran from Star Wars, she's Raya, and then you got Sisu, who's played by Awkwafina, and I think they make an excellent duo. They really knocked it out of the park with their performances, and it's really a good movie. I mean, if you want to see anything that's family friendly and just an all-around solid movie, then I really suggest you watch Raya and the Last Dragon this weekend. Like I said, it's coming out March 5th on Disney Plus and in cinemas if any movie theaters are available in your area. So stay safe, but yeah, watch the movie. It's really good. It's totally worth it. I'm dying to see it again. So after I finish WandaVision, that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to watch that movie again. It's really fun. I enjoyed it a lot, and it's another hit for Disney. So it's amazing how they've been able to put one out after another, just hit after hit. It's a great film. If you haven't done so yet, too, you can watch Soul, which came out a couple of months ago. I think it came out on Christmas, if I'm not mistaken, for Disney Plus, the Jamie Foxx movie for Pixar. It's a really cool movie. So yeah, there's a lot of good content coming out. And talking about movies, jumping up to the next topic, PlayStation Store, through the PlayStation blog, announced today that they will discontinue to sell and rent movies and TVs beginning of September 1st. So you have until August 31st to either buy or rent movies directly through the PlayStation Store. If you did purchase anything, if you have any purchases on your account, you will be able to access them, but they'll just they won't be providing any more services for rentals or for purchases directly through the PlayStation Store. And it kind of makes sense, it's everybody's using Netflix or Amazon or Disney Plus or Hulu or HBO Max or any of these services, and it's not really worth it for them to be spending a bunch of money on servers and a service that I don't know how many people actually use, but if they are shutting down, it means not a lot of people use it. It's really changed a lot the way people consume movies and TV content. So I don't think it's that far-fetched that it's better for them to just close out the service and just use the bunch of apps that are available for PS5 and PS4. But if you did buy a movie, then it's still going to be available for you on your account. But it's basically coming to an end August 31st. So I don't think a lot of people will mind, but it's still kind of a interesting story. So another thing that's coming up, I'm talking about PS5, and it's one of the things that I get asked about the most from the new consoles. People want to know when a storage solution is coming out for PS5. And for those who don't know, you can actually connect the USB hard drive to your PlayStation 5, but you can only play PlayStation 4 games from the hard drive. You can't even use it as storage for PS5 games, even if you're not going to play them on an external hard drive. So during summer, apparently we're going to get a firmware update where they're going to open up the possibility to use internal M2 drives that you can basically take off one of the white panels from the PlayStation, and there's going to be a little slot where you can basically expand the internal memory of the PS5, and that's something that was talked about even back when before we saw the console. There was talk that there would be other SSDs or M2 drives that would work on PS5, but they would have to fill certain criteria for them to work. So apparently we're going to get news about different M2 drives that will work on PS5 and are going to be compatible. And obviously they're not going to be cheap. If you take into account, for example, the SSD drive that you can, the expansion drive that you can buy on Xbox, it's $230 for 1 terabyte. So kind of prepare yourself for the same kind of purchase price. Obviously, they're going to have more competition because any third-party company that makes M2 drives, if it's up to snuff spec-wise, it's going to work on PS5. So you're going to have a kind of a little price war there, which hopefully will further decrease the price of SSDs. So I know it's a big problem for a lot of people. Games are getting huge, and there are a lot of companies that are trying to use some compression techniques to try to fit more of their game on less space. But there's still like these huge, massive games like Warzone, for example. It takes upwards to like 100 gigs, and that'll fill your SSD up quickly. And there are a lot of good games coming out soon. So I know a lot of people want to play all these titles and maybe not be racing games as often. So it's something that I need, and I know most of you guys need too. So that's coming up sometime soon. Now, jumping to the next topic. Last week, PlayStation held one of their State of Play digital conferences or digital events where they talk about different games coming out on their different platforms. And I gotta say, it was kind of underwhelming, to say the least. A lot of people were hoping for big announcements from either Gran Turismo, which now we know it's delayed. We're going to talk about that a little bit further down the road. But games like God of War, Horizon, and others were not shown at the event. Even Ratchet and Clank didn't have any time at the State of Play. But the games that did show up, for example, Crash Bandicoot 4, we already knew it's coming out on PS5. It's going to have a free update. It's coming out March 12th. We saw a little bit more about Returnal, which looks great. It's coming out April 30th from Housemarque. We saw a little bit more from Knockout City, and this game had actually been revealed a couple of weeks before on the Nintendo Direct. It's coming out May 21st, and there's actually a beta coming out. So you're going to get a chance to play the game. I don't know if the beta is going to be cross-play, but I know the game is. So that's I don't know. It's not my type of game. It's kind of like a mixture of Fortnite with Splatoon and Dodgeball. So I'm not that keen on this game, but yeah, it's coming out May 21st. Then they showed Sifu or whatever, however you say it. It's a martial arts online brawler, and it looks really fun. I mean, this is one of the only titles that wasn't announced before and was actually shown at the event at the State of Play. So I think it looks great. I mean, I at least want to know more about this game. So it looks entertaining. It looks fun. It kind of reminded me a little bit about that classic old boy corridor fight or the Daredevil corridor fight. It kind of has that type of vibe. So it's if you like beat 'em ups. I think it has a shot to be an interesting game coming up for PlayStation 4 and 5, and I think PC too. I'm not really sure on PC, but I think it's coming out on PC too. The other games they announced, Solar Ash, which looks okay. I mean, it looks like a high concept indie game, but it looks okay. We saw a little bit of Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, which I'm not a fan of the series, but it looks great. It looks really fun. It's more not action oriented, but it kind of changed the whole way you perceive the Five Nights at Freddy theme. So it looks all right. I mean, I'll try it out. I don't mind at all. Afterwards, we had got news. These are great news. Oddworld Soulstorm's coming out for PS5 and PS4, but the PS5 version is going to be totally free through PlayStation Plus on April 6th. So that's a month away, and you're going to get this game for free. Sony's been really good recently with getting good day one releases on PlayStation Plus. We had it with Destruction All Stars. We had it with Bugsnax, Control, and now we're gonna have Oddworld. So if it's a recurring theme of getting these games for free for PlayStation Plus, that's gonna be a big win for gamers. The game looks great. I played the original games on PS1. I thought they were awesome. I liked them a lot. I know a lot of people haven't played them, but I think having it for free, it's going to be a big boost for the game. Then we have our last three games that were announced or shown at the State of Play. Kenna Bridge of Spirits has a release date, August 24th. The game looks simply beautiful. This is one of the best looking games coming out this year. I love the aesthetic. It looks like a Pixar film mixed with Zelda or another action RPG type game. So action adventure game. It looks awesome. I'm dying to play this game. It's gonna be $40 for either PlayStation or PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5. So I'm really excited about that game. I mean, anybody that sees it has the same reaction. Everybody I've talked to, they love how it looks. It just looks beautiful. So, Kenna Bridge of Spirits, August 24th, 2021 for PS5 and for PS4 for $40. Then they showed a little bit more gameplay from Deathloop. Looks pretty good. It looks cool. I mean, it looks entertaining. Looks fun. I want to see a little bit more and get more in depth with what the game's gonna be. But it looks okay. And finally, they closed out talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, which is coming out June 10th. And there are a lot of things to digest from what they said from Final Fantasy. First of all, this is one of the games that it's one of the best games or remakes I've ever played. I mean, I love Final Fantasy VII. I'm a big fan of the original game. But the remake is amazing. I mean, if it didn't come out last year and didn't have to compete with Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima and Assassin's Creed and all these great titles, it could have been a Game of the Year candidate. It was really good. And for those who don't know, they're going to have a free upgrade for PS5, which they're going to have a graphics mode, which is going to have, it's going to prioritize 4K high-resolution graphics. Performance mode, which is the priority is gonna be 60 FPS. They're gonna have a photo mode available, which is awesome. This is a beautiful game, so that's gonna be cool. And they're gonna have some DualSense integration with haptics, adaptive triggers for the bike racing scenes, a new difficulty setting called Classic Mode, and the loading times. If you saw the trailer, they just look amazing. They're really quick. Now, there's a hitch here. I'm going to talk about the games coming out for PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live a little bit further down the podcast, but Final Fantasy VII already is available as one of the free games for March on PlayStation Plus, except that you can't really upgrade the PlayStation Plus version to the PS5 version. And I did not know this at first. I was doing a live stream, and somebody told me, listen, they said you can't upgrade the PSN version, which is totally weird. And I don't get why this would happen, but it's something that, well, it apparently happens. The other thing that was announced is that they're putting out a DLC that's going to be centered on Yuffie, one of the main characters from Final Fantasy VII, one of the side characters, really, that you can include in your party. It looks amazing. It's going to be standalone, so you don't have to buy the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 5 upgraded version to play the Integrate, the new expansion. It looks really good. It's extra content, so I'm totally happy with it. Afterwards, they did announce some other things coming out based on Final Fantasy VII. First of all, The First Soldier. It's going to be a Battle Royale game coming out in 2021. It's going to be free to play on iOS or Android, and it's going to basically carry a bunch of characters from the Final Fantasy mythos. Then they announced Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, and this one's really interesting. It's coming out in 2022, and it's basically going to be an episodic take on Final Fantasy VII, but the original game. Plus, it's going to have a lot of different. Basically, every spinoff is going to be included in some way. They haven't really given us a lot of details about it, but it's going to be free to play too. You're going to be able to download it on iOS or Android, so it's still a little bit ways off, but it sounds amazing. And if you like the soundtrack for Final Fantasy VII Remake, and if you're a fan of the series, you should. The soundtrack was great. It's already available on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music Unlimited, and everywhere else. So it has 156 tracks. So if you're a fan of game soundtracks, there you go. You have a great shot to get a bunch of great titles coming. A lot of great music from Final Fantasy VII. So that's basically what happened with the State of Play. It wasn't the best of shows. I mean, it wasn't horrible. But we didn't really get news from the games, from the most anticipated games we want to see, like God of War, Horizon, Gran Turismo, I don't know, Ratchet and Clank, and all these titles. So even Ghostwire Tokyo and some of the other games coming out, even MLB The Show, which it's going to be multi-platform, didn't really get any love from the State of Play. So they might do another one soon. They actually announced the week before the State of Play that they're actually working on a new PlayStation VR, next-gen PlayStation VR for PS5. And they did give a little bit of details. It won't release 2021. That's something that they marked down and basically wanted us to really take in, that it's not coming out this year. But the new controllers will have DualSense-like features. I'm guessing everything that has to do with haptic feedback and maybe adaptive triggers. And it's going to be a one cable solution just to connect to the PS5, which is awesome. It's probably going to be the USB-C connection. So we'll see. I mean, they announced it in a blog post. They didn't even show any images or anything. They're not ready to talk about partners or first-party support or anything. So they're just saying, like, we're working on it. It's coming out sometime eventually, and I think it's going to be great. I mean, if they have software support, that's all it needs. And if it's a easier experience to get in and out of with just one cable and not a bunch of things hanging from your console, then I think it's great. I know a lot of people want a wireless version of the headset, but I think if they want to keep the cost down, they're gonna need to use the console in one way or another. So I don't know. Let's see what they show. They're probably not going to show anything else this year. It's probably going to be a 2022 type of thing. So we'll see. But getting back to the State of Play, it kind of reminded me of one of the State of Plays that came out last year before they gave us like the final details of the PS5, where we got a bunch of games, PS4 games and VR games. And actually, there was a GQ interview with Jim Ryan from PlayStation, and he talked about a lot of stuff that basically leads up to the state of play, talking about games like Gran Turismo, and giving us a hint that their games will be out when they're ready. And we actually got a tweet from Corey Barlog from God of War, Santa Monica Studios, that basically said, listen, the game's going to be ready when it's ready. And I think even though it's not great to hear, it actually is, because we're going to get the best experience possible. We're not going to get a half-baked game. So even though some titles might be released a little bit later than we might hope, nobody wants to see what happened with Cyberpunk happen to one of these big games. Either Halo or God of War or Horizon or any of them. So he does say he feels pretty good about Returnal, Ratchet, and Horizon Forbidden West coming out 2021. So we already know that Gran Turismo is not coming out this year. So that begs the question that we're not really going to get any more news, at least soon, about what's going to happen with the next titles coming out for PS5 and possibly PS4. So, I mean, Xbox also, one of their, internally, they actually put out I don't know who it was. I'm trying to figure out who. Okay, here we go. Yeah, their marketing boss said nothing coming soon as far as major game announcement events. So they won't have anything huge coming out. I know a lot of people were kind of pining for it. This is Aaron Greenberg. After there were some leaks, some like a short trailer for Elden Ring, and people thought they're gonna have a huge game event, so like State of Play or a Nintendo Direct or whatever, and they're actually they confirmed. Listen, and this is exactly what he said on Twitter. Just to set expectations, this is not happening. There are always things we have in the works, but nothing coming soon that would feature game announcements or world premieres like this. So, yeah, just temper expectations. They won't have any new announcements coming soon. So, that's basically what we have on the Xbox front as far as new announcements. So, what can you say? You know, you got to be ready for whatever's coming up. And a lot of people I know are just desperate to get news about new games coming out. I mean, how many new titles can launch at the beginning of a generation? I mean, people want as many games as possible. People want these big games coming out. So it's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, upwards till halfway through the year, when we might actually get some news about not only what's coming out in 2021, but we really don't know anything, or most of the games that are going to be available for 2022. So it's going to be interesting the next couple of months. Now, jumping to the free games available for PlayStation Plus and for Xbox Live Games with Gold. In the case of PlayStation, these games are all available right now. You can get Maquette for PS5, Remnants from the Ashes for PS4, Farpoint VR for PlayStation 4, and Final Fantasy VII Remake for PS4. They all work on PS5, but like I said, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, you will not be able to upgrade to the PlayStation 5 version. So if you want to do that, you're going to have to buy the game, apparently. So it's going to be a little bit different. Also, the Game Destruction All-Stars is still going to be available as a free download at least till April 5th. So those are the games coming out for PlayStation that you can download if you're subscribed to PlayStation Plus. In the case of Xbox, Games with Gold for March, you're going to get Warface Breakout. That's going to be available from March 1st to the 31st. You're going to get Vala from March 16th to April 15th. Also, you're going to get Metal Slug 3. That's going to be available. It's available right now till March 15th. And you get Port Royale 3 from March 16th till March 31st. So that's going to be the free games you get for PlayStation and for Xbox during March, and yeah, pretty decent selection. Obviously, the big game out of all of them is Final Fantasy VII, which is amazing, and everybody should play it. So if you own a PS4, PS5, you can download it already. It's going to be available the whole month. And if you want to do the PS5 upgrade, then you might want to choose to buy it further down the road. You're probably going to be able to get some good deals on it. So that's not that bad. Now, other news coming out. EA has apparently delayed Need for Speed. They took the whole Criterion team, and they're actually taking him off the Need for Speed project so he can help out with the development of the new Battlefield game, which is supposed to come out this year too, and with the people from DICE. So I don't see a problem with it. I mean, I love Need for Speed, but I think if they need more time for the game, and I think Battlefield's a bigger earner for them, a bigger moneymaker for them. So it kind of makes sense that they would take this team and just move it along to help out with the development for Battlefield. Also, EA recently, I don't know if you heard, but they actually bought Codemasters. So they have a lot of studios that are really proficient making racing games. So if they want to then add them to the Need for Speed mix, they could totally do that. So even though it's probably not coming out this year, for 2022, we're probably going to have a decent Need for Speed game. So I prefer they delayed the game and we get the best game possible than just another knockoff or another regular Need for Speed game. So I know it's going to be a drag for a lot of people who are really fans of the series, but at least Battlefield fans are going to be happy, hopefully, when the game releases later this year, probably anywhere from October till November, probably. So Need for Speed delayed, but apparently just to help out to finish up Battlefield, the next Battlefield. So that's going to be great. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we talked a bit. I didn't talk about it in this podcast, but I did mention it on the show. And EA basically has a new patent for stream technology, which would allow you to play games while you download them. It's possibly going to work a little bit like Google Stadia or Project xCloud for Xbox, where you can basically play anything through streaming. But their main focus is going to be when you buy games or download games that you might want to play immediately with friends or just start the game out while it downloads. And that's what their stream technology is going to work for. Let's say you want to buy Battlefield and your friends pre-ordered and they already had it pre-installed or whatever, and you have a couple of hours to play and you just want to play right now. So you can buy the game, download or start downloading in the game, but then you can play through a cloud service and just play with your friends. So the games you own, you can buy them and you can play them through streaming. And I think it's one of the things that has been promised with streaming, with game streaming since the beginning, and it really hasn't taken off. I mean, OnLive tried it. I know Gaikai tried it too. They've tried it with PlayStation Now, and it really hasn't taken off. And I know a lot of people are really are really positive about what can be done with game streaming. I'm still kind of iffy on it. Connections are not as stable worldwide as they are in some small pockets in the States and Puerto Rico and other areas. And it's I don't know, it's still kind of weird to me. I mean, this application that EA wants to do with a downloadable, while you download you can play. I think that's awesome, but like really streaming technology for I'm not gonna have a controller on the go with my phone if I want to play Halo or I want to play God of War or whatever. It's cool to have, but it's really not that useful for me, at least. If you're prepared to just take a road trip and you want to take one of these cell phone controllers or adapters or whatever, then that's great. But I don't think it's practical for most people. It just isn't, And then we jump to Google Stadia, which is my next topic, and it's kind of thrown in together right there. But I don't know if you heard, but one of the things that came out this week from the Google Stadia team is that they apparently paid tens of millions of dollars to get some of these games from third parties on their platform. Games like Red Dead Redemption, like NBA 2K, games like Assassin's Creed. All these titles that came to Stadia, they paid over $10 million for each one of them just to be on the service. And I think, you know what? I know you have to get some content on your platform, but the whole Stadia thing has always been a mess to me. I mean, they've had a bunch of talented people. They already closed their internal studios. They're going to be licensing their technology to other game developers. And I don't know. It always felt like a stretch that it was going to be successful, even though they are with Google, and Google has done amazing things with Gmail and YouTube and obviously Google itself. But really, Google Stadia always felt like a side project to me. I bought the starter kit. I tried it out when it came out, and it wasn't that it didn't work well, but it felt incomplete. It felt like a beta version. Like they're really not into. They're not really confident about their own product, and when you see that from a company, it's usually scary because there's not going to be a lot of support. And even though they try to buy support, it just doesn't work that way. You need some exclusive games or some at least something forward thinking to get people excited about your platform. If you look at other streaming or Android services that or consoles that came out before, like Ouya, like I said, Gaikai, OnLive, they didn't really have content, at least to carry people over from Steam or from PlayStation or from Xbox or from Nintendo. It's people have limited income and spending money, so people will spend on things they feel secure about. They won't really take a chance on some new technology that they're not going to support 4 or 5 years down the road. I always told people try to hold off on Google Stadia, see what they were going to do. I wouldn't buy games on the system. I mean, if you buy games on Stadia through their store and they close down the service, you're going to lose the games. It could happen with other platforms or other services, but I don't think either Nintendo or Xbox or PlayStation are going to just fold their hand and just leave soon. That they're all making money, they're all successful, and they all have a trustworthy trajectory in the gaming industry. So I don't know. They'll probably be around for the next 20, 30 years in the gaming industry. Probably somebody will enter the fray at one point or another, but I don't think Google Stadia is really a competitor right now, and I'll be wary to spend money on a service that really doesn't feel like it's being supported by its own parent company. So I don't know. It kind of sounds. I don't know. It kind of sounds strange. I'm a big gaming fan, but at some point you gotta really understand that you can't just spend money ridiculously with something that might or might not work. So I don't know. Next up, we have a bunch of things that were announced on the PlayStation. Sorry. About Pokemon. We have a 25th anniversary for Pokemon, and a bunch of things were announced. Some of the new games coming out, which are really not new games. We're gonna get Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Shining Pearl. These two games are coming out for the Nintendo Switch. Obviously, those are remakes of older classics coming out for the system. Also, they announced a new game, which I know everybody's not really ragging on it. They're making fun of it a little bit. I think it looks great. It's called Pokemon Legends Arceus, and it looks like it's an action RPG. But it looks like a lot like Zelda. And I know people are saying like Pokemon Breath of the Wild and whatever. It actually looks pretty good. I mean, I don't think I'm not a big Pokemon fan, but it looks okay. I mean, I'll test it out. If I get a shot to review it, I will. It looks pretty cool. And the new Pokemon Snap coming out April 30th also looks pretty good. So Nintendo has a couple of things up its sleeve with Pokemon. It's ridiculously successful. I mean, who hasn't played Pokemon at one point or another? I mean, I wasn't a big Pokemon fan because I was a little bit older when Pokemon really took off, and I liked other types of games at the time, shooters and action adventure games or traditional Japanese RPGs, JRPGs, like Final Fantasy and Dragon's Quest and all these games. So I found it a little bit simplistic when it came out, but I have played them. I have played a bunch of Pokemon games, and they're really good. I mean, I wish they would make new games instead of just rehashing these old titles. Like, for example, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl will launch late 2021, and Pokemon Legends Arceus, however you want to pronounce it, it's coming out early 2022. So they're all for the Nintendo Switch. I know people are still pining to get a new version of the Nintendo Switch. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. They don't have to right now. I mean, the game, the system's selling amazingly well, better than any other console right now, and they haven't released a big game since possibly Paper Mario, but before that, Animal Crossing. So they basically had two big games internally last year, and that's it. That's basically all she wrote, you know. But it's still selling well. They got a bunch of games coming out. They got Skyward Sword. They got Monster Hunter. So they have a pretty decent slate, and obviously they got their first party title. So that's pretty much it for Nintendo. Now, one of the other things I said I was going to mention, GT7 delayed. This is just one of the big games that got delayed for 2021, and it really doesn't surprise me. I mean, Polyphony Digital, the studio that makes Gran Turismo, they have always had delays with all their games, so it's not really surprising. I mean, I really thought they had a shot to get the game out this year. It might be a thing that they just want some extra time, and because of the pandemic, they probably said, you know what, we can probably push it to next year. We're gonna have a bigger install base. We can get a better product out in the market. So that might be it, but who knows? I mean, it might take 5 more years for the game to come out, or just come out early next year. We haven't seen much since the game was first shown, but since it was one of the first actual gameplay clips we saw from the PlayStation 5, I thought they were further down the road. But it's not really an easy game to make, so you got to give them a little bit of slack. So that's basically most of the things that most of the important news coming out. I just wanted to mention real quick. Obviously, this Friday, March 5th, besides the release of Raya and the Last Dragon, we're gonna have the final episode from WandaVision. Totally hooked on the series. Hopefully, we get a similar quality when Falcon and Winter Soldier come out on mid-March. I think it's like 2 weeks after WandaVision ends. So we're gonna have a new Disney Plus Marvel series right after that. Then we're gonna have Black Widow, and afterwards we're gonna have Loki. So it's gonna be a really hectic year for Marvel fans. I mean, I'm really happy with everything I've seen from WandaVision. It's fun, it's strange, and it got really dark right at the end. So I'm dying to see what's going to happen at the finale. I've seen a bunch of supposed leaks and spoilers. I don't know what to think about them, but yeah, it's coming out next year. Next week, next Friday. This Friday, I'm sorry. And then 2 weeks afterwards, we're going to have Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So basically, that's it. If, like I said, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the podcast, Giga Bytes Podcast. I want to know what you think about the podcast. If you want me to cover some different topics or some specific thing you want me to cover, maybe a review, retro review, or talk about something happening on the gaming industry, or maybe streaming. Just shoot me up. You can follow me on social media, El Giga 947 or El Giga on Facebook, and obviously subscribe to the Giga Bytes Podcast on your favorite podcasting directory, I guess. So, like I said, thanks a lot for your time. Thanks a lot for being here and spending some quality minutes listening to what's going on in the gaming industry and streaming. So, my name is Ivan Colon El Giga, and like I always say, seguimos jugando. Keep on playing, people.